In the autumn, Dartmoor takes on a new dimension. It has that skin-prickling feel of mystery-made landscape. The far-off hills are sculpted from haze, and standing stones and stone circles seem to have stepped out of dream to litter a place that's neither earth nor sky. It's a kind of mixture of rock and water and mist, assembled almost haphazardly to create a magic. There is the prose of the dry stone walls, set out like neat little sentences, climbing up the hillsides, stating in the most austere terms that they were constructed by men who knew how to work in an age of hard graft. Man is still changing the face of Dartmoor, and the leats, these narrow man-made streams, are still being used to supply power for those industries important to our civilization. We always demand that these places give us a living. We can never leave them alone as superb solitudes in their own right. Hill farming is rooted in antiquity, but it's also a commercial fact of life with inevitable consequences. This is the time of the year when the ponies who have been grazing comparatively free in a half-wild state all summer are brought in from wilderness places to be sold at the pony fairs. Man has exploited the granite and the water in this place for centuries, and he's also exploited the animals. The ponies which the visitors believe to be wild are in actual fact farm stock, and their destinies are resolved before they're born. Every year at this time in the autumn, we have the pony drifts. Herds of mares and foals are driven down from the tors and the hilltops to fulfill those humble destinies which tourists never perceive. To them, it's just another gallop. Although I often think that maybe they have some sort of soul perception of what lies ahead of them, because there is a difference in the demeanor of the men and the animals being used to round them up.
I suppose it's only tradition at the moment. There's no livelihood to be got out of the things. I would think it is tradition, and, well, like the pony drift's a bit of a get-together with all the local farmers. I can't see any future for any numbers of ponies. Farmers will keep just a few for tradition, I would think. Might be very, I expect, especially the young farmers, they will. Young men like my sons, they wouldn't want to keep the things at all. You might get one year in, well, 10 that they might make an extra pound or two. Colts, 10 to 15 pound perhaps. you might be lucky and get one or two of the better ones make 30. Some might only make £5.
Being unable to reason, animals have no knowledge of death, no more than we had knowledge of death when we were little children. We had to be told we were going to die. We're not born with the knowledge that we're not immortal. We have to learn it. Now, animals haven't got the facility for ever learning that their life will one day be terminated. But they are capable of suffering. They're capable of feeling extreme terror. And also, with their terror must come a horrible bewilderment, because they have no reason, and they have no religion, no faith to sustain them through that suffering. Therefore, their misery must be all the more acute. The broad valley of the Walcombe runs up into some high, wild country. And it's from up there that this leat, the Grimstone and Sortridge, begins. It comes down the valley and supplies drinking water and water for the farm stock for the farm over there. Then it continues on for about another 5 miles, bringing in water for farm stock until it rejoins the river. En route, it's diverted to serve the needs of Merivale Quarry. The stone from the quarry, of course, will be going off to London to be used in the construction of important buildings. It's not so much that great bite in the landscape has revealed so much naked rock. I don't object to that. It's all the paraphernalia of commerce assembled in this beautiful natural setting. Nature does possess healing qualities and can come along in a matter of a few seasons and repair a lot of the damage that man does. Here at Haytor Quarry, we see this force, this life force, operating. It's already been reclaimed by the moor. To me, the quarry is now a sanctuary for wildlife. It's somewhere where I can come on a quiet spring evening or an autumn afternoon and see things and be part of things. Just to breathe the quietude is enough in itself. I'm right in the middle of a tramway, but it's not a normal tramway. The tracks are made of granite and the blocks are made of granite. For the problem with granite is not just getting it out of the ground, but transporting it elsewhere. And here they were ingenious. They laid the tracks made of the local stone, and then they put them in trucks, and they moved them right down into the valley.
The science of the steel rail with the steel wheel and the stone ballast underneath has been going now since about 1830. Here we supply about 2,000 tonnes of ballast a day to British Rail. There's quite a lot of ballast worn out over the railway system each year, a total of 4 million tonnes. And what we're looking for is a very good, hard, glassy rock, which is just what we have at Meldon Quarry. Because Meldon has hornfels rock, which is a metamorphosed sandstone. It is not granite. The quarry's been here since 1895, so we've been operating for nearly 100 years. And we have reserves here which are going to last for between 100 and 200 years further.
Well, we have drilled the rock in lanes of 3 across, from the top to the bottom. The measured distances back, measured distances apart. So therefore we can calculate how many cubic yards and how many tons we will blast here. In actual fact, the figure is 26,439 tons, calculated tonnage that will be blasted. From the tonnage, we can then calculate the amount of explosives required. And on this particular one, we should use 3.5 ton of explosives. And those will be detonated in 0.35 of a second. The man who's not afraid is a fool. He's a dangerous man to work with, because if he's got that much confidence, he's the man that's going to kill himself. When you have respect for that, you will always take care. You always take care with explosives. You only ever make one mistake. You don't get a second chance. One mistake's enough. And it's as simple as that with explosives.
Quarry 2 to Quarry 1, we're firing now.
After the blast, I always carry out an inspection, and there's a feeling of excitement because you've achieved what you set out to do. There's also a feeling of fear because there's no question about it. There's always an element of danger involved.
Quarry 10 to Quarry 4 coming. 4 over. Boy, all clear. Sounding all clear through now. Over.
And also one of mystique, because if you really stop and think about it, the piece of rock I've uncovered has never been uncovered before, and it's the first time anyone's eyes have ever seen that piece of ground.
Each individual requires almost 10 pounds of explosives per year to supply their mineral needs. This quarry has taken quite a chunk out of the Dartmoor landscape. But as long as society needs minerals, then these places are necessary. So quarries and mines are with us. Here in the heart of Dartmoor, under Birch Tor behind me, we have another example of the vandalised landscape. This was once the scene of some really heavy and busy tin mining. Mines like Birch Tor, Vitifer and Golden Dagger supplied Europe with some of the best ore available. In fact, for a short period, Dartmoor was once the richest centre of tin production in the whole of Europe. There would have been horse and carts, men working, slaving away. There would have been the groan and creak of the giant wheels used for pumping out the mine shafts or providing energy for the crushing of the tin ore. And really what we're looking at is the graveyard for a once mighty industry. Nature's come along and redressed the balance and reclothed and reclaimed. Men have worked here and those men have gone, and the shadows of what they did remain. But there's always something coming along behind them to reassure us that we're not just sailing aimlessly down a trail towards oblivion. And Dartmoor has this extremely spiritual quality of giving us something necessary to the soul. And I believe solitude is one of the things necessary to the human soul. Love is necessary to the human soul. The beauty that you can only find in nature is necessary to the human soul. Dartmoor is eternally producing this spiritual commodity, this great unrecognized industry, solitude.